So let us set up some run modes against our test cases that we are creating. Because right now, what we have done, we have automated three interface. We have created three test cases. At times, when we keep on automating things, then there could be a time when we have hundreds of test cases, right? Now, like there are times when we want that we don't want to execute this particular test case, or we don't want to execute this particular test case. So we can also define run modes, right? So run modes are basically, let's say if I go to my Excel sheet, if I go to my resources for test resources, it's not showing up over here. Just give me a moment. I'll do Maven update project. Updating the project. Okay, shows up like this, but that's fine. Still, there's an issue. I'll try to close the project and then open the project. Okay, this is strange. Okay, let me update it once again. Where's Maven and update project? Okay, this looks strange. That's fine. It won't do anything negative to our project. We can directly go to its location and see the SRC and the test and the resources package. We have all these packages over here. Somehow it is not showing up over here. Okay, we'll troubleshoot that reason later on, right? Because right now we are actually able to open up the Excel sheet directly from the location of the project. But let's see. So what I actually meant over here, I'll be adding one of the sheet, name it as, let's say, test suit. Let's say this is a test suit sheet, and in this I'll be defining my test case name or test case ID, and along with that I'll be defining the run mode, right? So let's say the test case, if we take a look over here, the very first test that we have is a bank manager login test. So I'll just copy the name, the same name of the class as it is over here, and I define that yes, I want to run this test. Then we have add customer test. Just copy this and define the run mode as yes. Similarly, let's execute all three tests for the timing. So I'll define it as yes as well, right? Now again, this thing I need to check before I execute anything inside, like before my test case is executed, right? So I can very well handle this thing in my listener. So listener should be on test start listener itself. So on test start, the listener is somewhere over here. Yeah. So here I'll be checking the run modes, right? I'll be checking the run modes whether if the run mode is Y, then it should execute the test. Otherwise, it should throw new skip exception, right? So what I'll be doing, I'll be creating a common method inside my utility. So I'll go to test util, and I'm gonna create a method over here where I can write public static, a method that should return a boolean value when checking for is test runnable, right? So this method we're going to accept your string test name, and can also accept the reference of your Excel reader. So I can write Excel reader Excel, right? So what we're gonna write in this method, I'll say first, I'll be getting the row count, excel dot get row count, right? From the sheet name should be the test suite, right? Because this is the only suite sheet, so we're gonna write the sheet name over here like this, and I'll be storing it in a variable called as rows, right? Then I'll start the loop from the row number 2. Why row number 2? Because if we take a look at the test data sheet, then our test case ID start from the row number 2, right? So same thing, we are actually giving it over here. It start from row number 2 and run row num less than equal to rows, the row count, and row num plus plus, right? So it will iterate over the rows, and then what we're gonna check, we're gonna get the cell data from each row. We'll say excel dot get cell data from the sheet name. Sheet name again remains as test suite. So what I can do, I can just copy this and say string sheet name equal to this, right? So that we need not to write the sheet name again and again, right? So column number, or we actually have a overloaded method over here with get cell data. We can also give the column name as well, right? So instead of column number, I'm gonna give the column name as test case ID, right? And the row number should be the row number. So here it will gonna get the data, and I'm gonna store it inside string. Let's say this is my test case. Test case equal to this, right? Now I'm gonna write a logic if this test case dot equals ignore case the test name that we actually going to provide. If this is equals to ignore case, means that it should ignore the case sensitive, right? It might happen that I may write it in uppercase or lowercase, but it should actually ignore the case at the time of reading it, right? So this is just to be on the safer side. So if this is equal to the test name, if the data that we are reading from Excel sheet is equal to the test name that we are providing, so what it will gonna do, it will gonna check for Excel dot get cell data. Again, we'll go inside this, and we're gonna from the same sheet, and the column name should be run mode. From run mode, and the row number should be the same row. We're gonna check. I'm gonna store this thing into string run mode, right? So let's say we are getting the data from this run mode column. We have provided the test case ID as this. So I'm checking that against this, the test case ID is Y, right? If like this run mode will gonna come as Y. So I'm gonna write something like if run mode dot equal ignore case Y, right? If it is equal ignore case Y, then it should return true, else it should return false, right? And in any case, if there is any other value, it should return as false. So only in the case of y, it should actually gonna return true, right? So this is a method which will actually gonna return true or false based on the test case name that we're gonna provide, and we're gonna check against the run mode column, right? So how are we gonna use this? I'll go inside my listener, and I'll just gonna write if, sorry, I'll go over here, say if test util dot is test runnable. From the sheet name will gonna be this, right? This is the name of our test, right? So test name, let's say bank manager login. Instead of login as bank manager, I'm gonna name it as bank manager login test. We should keep the test name same as of the class name, because class name is the same that we are providing in the sheet name. But here we are using camel casing, so method should be in the small letter like this. So once it reads the test name, that is test name is from here get name, right? It will gonna check the run mode accordingly for that particular thing. And if the run mode is not true, right? If this thing is not true, if this thing returns false, right? So if this thing returns false, then it should throw new skip exception, right? And here I can write skipping the test as the run mode is no, right? So I can import this skip exception. And even I can write skipping the test and give this test over here. Right, give the test name and say dot to uppercase. So we're gonna change it to uppercase. Right. So let us run this and see the very first time it will gonna execute all the three test cases, and all the three test cases as in it should execute bank manager login, then adding the customer, then opening the account, right? So let's save this and let's run this to make sure everything works fine for the first time. Build success, and now I'll say Maven test and run this. So it's launching Chrome. Let's see. Yes, it clicked over here, entered the first set of data, then second set, and now it should go for open account. Right. So all three tests are successfully executed, right? So there are no failures, no skip, right? Now what I'm going to do, I'll again go to my Excel sheet and I'll set the run mode for the open account test to no, right? So let's save this and let's run it again, and let's see if that test gets skipped or not. All right, and let's see the last set of data. Now it should go to open account or not. Well, it actually executed the test, but let's see. It didn't skip. So what could be the error? It says skipping the test as the run mode is no. It is actually skipping it, but it's running the test as well. So it should have not executed the data for open account test, right? They should not have been executed. Let's see where the issue is. I want to see the report, so I'll refresh this. And inside the target surefire reports, I want to see the extent reports. So somehow the extent reports are not generating. Okay, there seems to be some issues. Okay, I'm sorry, the extend reports are in HTML folder. We are actually generating it over here. So let's run this to make sure everything works. Okay, so over here, the open account test, it says open account test pass. So what it should have done, it should have skipped the test, right? So the very first thing, I mean, what we need to do is we need to go inside our skip listener as well, and we need to update the extent reports as well over here, right? So the very first thing, we'll go inside on test skip, and what we're gonna write over here, we're gonna say test dot log, right? Logs test status dot skip, right? We're gonna skip the test over here, and we're gonna say uh, this dot get name. So this is the message. We're gonna say to uppercase, and then we're gonna concatenate. We'll say skipped the skipped the test as the run mode is no. Right, and then we need to end the test and flush the report as well. So this should update the things in your extent report on whenever a test is skipped. But let's see, there are still some issues. It's not actually skipping the test. It's running the test, although it's printing the skip exception. So we need to check that thing why the error is there. So first let's test it and see the execution for the third test is happening. That should not happen. So this should not execute. Let's see. Let us refresh and check the reports again. Even the skip test is not happening. So it means the test is not getting skipped, right? Let's see what could be the issue. We'll check for listeners first. So on test start. On test start, we are actually checking if test util dot is runnable. If it is not runnable, right? So we have actually used throw new skip exception. Everything looks fine over here. There shouldn't be any issue over here. Let's just check the method is runnable. So what we have written over here, we are checking the rows. From the second row, we are checking from the sheet test suite and the test case ID column and the row number. That's fine. And then over here we are checking if test case is equal to the test name, then get the data from the test suite sheet, from the run mode, and from the row number, right? And if the data equals to y, then it should return true, else it should return false, right? So this is how, I mean, it's actually implemented fine. But let's see, I'll go over here and I'll try to print this thing. And let's see what it shows. Okay, and let's check. Okay, it's turning true, 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 true. Mhm. So it means for initial first test it returned true, and then for all the other the second test where we have four set of data in add customer it returned true, so all of them got executed. And then over here it's actually returning false, but not skipping the test, right? So this is where we actually need to look at, and it's actually printing over here. So let me troubleshoot it. Let's just try some more thing. Let me cut it from here. And what I'll do, I'll go into my open account test and I can try it over here. Right. Just to make sure, I mean, testing the script test that we have actually written is working fine or not. So over here, the sheet name I can give as a method name itself. So this, and I'll give the sheet name over here, right, like this. So let us try this once more to make sure it works. So it's going to add customer, and then I should now actually execute open account test. And see, this time it didn't get executed, right? So we have one skip. And now let's look at the reports to make sure these are recorded to our extent reports as well. So I'll go to target, surefire, HTML extent, and then we're gonna see if yes. So it's been added over here. Open account test skipped as the run mode is. So through listeners, we are having some issues. I mean, it should normally on test listener meant the same thing that it gets executed before each test is executed, right? So this skip exception will actually going to work when you are inside the test, right? Custom listeners, if we talk about on test listeners, this actually works before the test is executed. See, before a test will be invoked, right? So that is the reason it was not actually working inside it, because the skip exception it works on the basis of a particular condition, and that condition should be when you are in a particular test, right? So in a test we are actually defining if this test is not executable, then we should actually skip this test, right? So then a skip exception is thrown. So that is the reason when we are running it, it is actually skipping the test and reporting in the extent report as well. So in order to report in the extent report, we actually need to we can remove this part from here now, and we actually need to go inside on test skip. So whenever a test is skipped, it should log the skip with the test name and should mention the message that we have written. Ultimately, the end result should be to watch the things in the report. So we need to look at the reports to make sure how many tests are being skipped. Right. So with this skip exception, this is the only way to do it. The other thing that you can try out are the groups, right? So you can use test ng groups where you can define groups to different test cases, and there as well you can mention that whether you want to execute this test or not, right? So whether you want to execute the particular group or not. So that thing can also be achieved using groups. Right. So here it shows one skip, And then in the report, we have already seen if we refresh it, our report should actually show the skip test, right? Rest all are pass, one failure with the screenshot, right? And then we have one skip. And over here, you're gonna see pass, fail, and skip status, right? So in the next session, we're gonna see how to set up run modes against your test data. So right now we have set up run modes against the test suite. In the next session, we're gonna look at how the same thing can be done with the test data as well, right?